Universal Pictures are currently in early talks with David Leitch to direct the new Jurassic World movie, which now also has a release date. Jurassic World 4 is set for release on July 2nd, 2025. We've got all the details in today's video. Welcome back to Jurassic Outpost. Let's jump in. In yet another surprise piece of news, Deadline have reported that Universal Pictures are zeroing in on a director for the new Jurassic World movie. According to the article, Universal Pictures' new Jurassic World pick is gaining some serious momentum as it has zeroed in on a familiar face to direct. While it is early days on the negotiation front, sources tell Deadline David Leitch is in early talks to direct the next film in the billion-dollar franchise. The film is set to bow on July 2nd, 2025. So who is David Leitch? The filmmaker's directorial debut was with the 2014 action film John Wick, and if we take a look at his filmography, we can see since John Wick he has taken on Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2, the Fast and Furious spin-off Hobbs and Shaw, and his latest is Bullet Train, an action comedy film. His next movie, The Fall Guy, is currently unreleased but is yet another action comedy film. David's relationship with Universal Pictures makes sense as to why he is now being eyed to take on Jurassic. His spin-off capabilities for Fast and Furious might indicate the direction the studio are taking with the movie, but of course, that all remains to be seen. On a personal level, we've been working on another director shortlist video for the movie, and David Leitch definitely wasn't on that list. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt on Jurassic World 4. The director has shown an ability to adapt to certain projects, so maybe he is the right pick to take on a Jurassic movie, but his filmography really isn't giving me any confidence, and in actual fact, I feel pretty let down by this announcement. All remains to be seen if David Leitch was the right choice for the project, but the rushed release date, the Fast and Furious director, have we really reached that point? Is that where the Jurassic World franchise is? Many people, we haven't been silent in our videos about our feelings towards this next movie. Everybody wants to tread carefully. The 2025 release date is incredibly ambitious. You could describe it using the word rushed if you wanted to, but the announcement of David Koepp certainly sparked excitement in many fans, thinking that maybe we are now on the right track. It hinted at the producers and studio wanting a return to form, so to speak, if they thought that David Koepp would provide that. David Leitch, however, doesn't really inspire that same confidence. But then, none of his movies are really my kind of movie. There's no question that this director will blow us away with the action scenes, but the fighting scenes in Fallen Kingdom I felt were just out of place, making the movie feel more like Mission Impossible or a Jason Bourne movie than a Jurassic Park movie. And I guess that's where the question of world being separate from park comes into play. At this point, are we even looking at park sequels anymore? Is it going to be Jurassic Park 7? I don't know. Let's see what else the article tells us. The new movie will be a completely fresh take on a Jurassic era, with Jurassic World cast members Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard not expected to return, nor the original trilogy's thespians Jeff Goldblum, Laura Dern and Sam Neill. The film will be executive produced by Steven Spielberg through Amblin, Frank Marshall and Patrick Crowley will produce, and David Leitch and Kelly McCormick will also produce through 87 North. If a deal closes, this would be a seismic attachment and be the biggest name to helm a film in the franchise since Steven Spielberg. Universal still sees this as an IP that hasn't lost its luster with fans, as the most recent pick, Jurassic World Dominion, bringing in $1 billion at the global box office, and have been anxious to dive back into the universe with a fresh take. Now, I think this might be the biggest red flag in this announcement. Everybody knows that box office figures doesn't equate to critical success. The movie might be a critical disappointment, but a commercial success, but which is the more important of the two? I would argue that some fans actually feel extremely fatigued and disappointed with the franchise after the latest entry. The rush to see a new adventure, a new sequel, could be a positive one that course corrects a little bit, but it's hard at this point not to see it as a cash grab. The franchise rapidly turning into Universal's next Fast and the Furious, with a movie in production every couple of years. Is this what we want for Jurassic? Leitch's unique style, especially when it comes to jaw-dropping action sequences in films like Deadpool 2 and Bullet Train, are unlike anything the franchise has experienced with previous directors, and would certainly give the series a fresh new look execs have wanted since the development of this film. Now, I've shared my opinion, and I don't want to discredit anybody else from feeling excited by this announcement. Are you a fan of David Leitch's work? And if so, why do you think he makes a good pick for Jurassic? Share your thoughts in the comments below, as we really do love reading what you have to say, and we're curious what arguments there might be in support of this choice. Interestingly, David Leitch was a second unit director on Jurassic World back in 2015, so he does already have some sort of connection to the franchise, having worked with Frank Marshall and Pat Crowley back then. He's been in the industry for a long time, has worked on a variety of projects and in a variety of different fields. His film work as director isn't the biggest list, but his experience makes up for it. So let's talk about the release date, July 2nd, 2025, a summer release. At this point in time, we are already behind on the traditional schedule for a Jurassic World movie. They have a lengthy post-production schedule, as many of you know, mostly due to the visual effects that are involved. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, for example, started filming in February 2017 and then wrapped in July of that same year, releasing the following year in June of 2018. If the reports that Jurassic World 4 will begin production in 4 to 6 months' time, then they will already be behind on the established schedule for these movies. But of course, this movie could be different. It could still be more contained, although with this announcement, that doesn't really seem possible anymore. I'm gonna be real for a moment. We joked, and we've joked a number of times on our podcast, in our videos, on our website. Everybody jokes about this, right? The Jurassic World crossover with Fast and Furious. Both franchises run by Universal, but you know, it was always a joke. It was always supposed to be a joke. The two franchises couldn't really be further apart. At least that's how it used to feel. This director pick isn't what I wanted to hear. I can't speak for other Outpost writers, and I won't do that, of course, but personally, this isn't the director I would have selected. Our shortlist had picks like J.D. Dillard, Yi Yaniak, Alex Garland. Hell, at this point, I'd love to even throw Danny Boyle on that list. I want the film to feel real, gritty, dark, grounded. What I want from the franchise, what I am looking for in a Jurassic sequel, is not what the studio and producers are seeking out. At least that's not what it's looking like anymore. We're not on the same wavelength. I really did think the David Koepp news would change that. I was quite hopeful for a director announcement that would surprise me, but not like this. This almost doesn't surprise me, and in that sense, I'm just wondering why? Why David Leitch? Did he have a really inspirational pitch, or is this a business decision based on the most profitable outcome? Do they trust David to deliver an explosive, action-packed adventure for the Jurassic franchise? And is that the reason he was chosen? If so, then everybody involved in that decision just doesn't understand what made the original film, and The Lost World of course, a success. Why it still resonates with audiences. We seem to have officially left the timeline where a Jurassic Park sequel is possible. It's Jurassic World all over now. And that's okay. While I'm disappointed in this decision, I will still remain hopeful that David Koepp's screenplay is just what we need and want from a sequel, and that David Leitch understands the property, understands the nuances that make a Jurassic movie just that. It's important to remember that film is subjective. Your opinion will vary from another person's, and that's fine. That is okay. Also, David Leitch isn't fully attached, at least they haven't confirmed his attachment yet. He's in negotiations to direct, and while it kind of sounds like, based on the time frame, he's already in and will be directing Jurassic World 4. The 2025 release date makes us wonder if the movie will eventually be delayed and pushed to 2026. The same thing happened with Jurassic World back in 2014. It's a more realistic date, but again, we don't know their exact plan yet with this movie. All signs are pointing to another ridiculously budgeted adventure with lots of CGI. What are your thoughts on this news? I'm sure many of you are excited and glad to have a release date. July 2nd, 2025, Jurassic World 4 will be here. Are you a fan of David's work? And if so, why do you think he'll make a good Jurassic World sequel? Share your thoughts below, and thanks for making it to the end. We appreciate all of you out there for watching our videos.